are in the yard where faith and sports collide.
Very happy to be here.
Thank you, Hakeem. I'm happy to be here, too. My name is Marcus Preciado, the host. And over there on the other side of the glass, we have Jefferson Drexler. Say hello to everybody in podcast land.
Hey, podcast land. Is that really that's a regional territory?
I am going for vice president of podcast
All
land.
right.
So vote for me, please. Vote for me. The campaign starts soon. Hey, we want to give a big thank you, Jefferson, to one of our partners here, the Christian Podcast Central. Thank you guys for partnering with us and helping us make this happen. Hey, here's what the show is all about. It's pretty simple. Jefferson and myself, we're going to get together. We're going to talk about the week of sports that happened, highlight some things that jumped out at us, and we are later on going to have a professional guest every week to talk about how faith and sports collide in their world. And today we've got the venerable, the laudable. Those are big words. I know. I'll explain to them later, Jefferson. We've got NFL Hall of Fame wide receiver and just an amazing guy, Mr. James Lofton. So stay tuned. It's going to be a great, great show. But let's jump in right to it right now, Jefferson. A couple things that jumped out at me over the weekend. Of course, we've got right now the World Series that's going on. The Astros are up 3-2. That's a great series. We'll get into that in a little bit. Indianapolis is 4-2 without Andrew Luck. I'm really surprised at that. I don't think anybody saw that coming. They've got Jacoby Brissett that's doing a great job. We've got the 49ers as well and the Patriots that are undefeated. I don't think anybody is surprised about the Patriots being undefeated, but the 49ers right now being undefeated this late in the season, 7-0, is amazing. On the other side, Jefferson, we've got the other battle, the battle of ineptness that we are watching closely of 2019. We're watching the Bengals and the Dolphins fight it out for the worst team in the NFL, and this race is just about as exciting as the 49ers-Patriots race. What do you think about that, Jefferson?
You know, first of all, I think that basement in the NFL is really, really crowded. It goes beyond just those teams. I mean, you've got the Jets, you've got the Redskins, you got a whole bunch of guys with minimal wins. But what's crazy is the Steelers, who only have, 2 or 3 wins? They're in second place in their division. I mean,
That's great.
I don't know what to make of it all.
You know what's weird is that these teams pretty much have homogeneous talent. So these teams pretty much have the same talent level. There's some outliers here and there, but to be 0-6, 0-7, 0-8 at this time of the year is just embarrassing. That tells you a lot about the team. It tells you about the ownership. It tells you about management. It tells you about coaching. It tells you about the desire, the will of the players to win, because they have talent, every one of these teams, and it is pretty embarrassing that they're that bad. On the other side, bouncing once again, we've got Belichick being Belichick, 300 wins. Only 2 other coaches have done that. Belichick he's just giving the NFL a whooping. I like to say they better Belichick themselves before they Belichick themselves, right? Because that dude don't play.
I'm so excited to be on top of the league.
Oh,
I can't
gosh,
wait to catch
man.
up with Don Shula.
You know what's cool is that we're watching greatness right now, with Belichick, with Brady, and this next guy right now, too. Tiger Woods had his 82nd win. Championship, the Zozo Championship, and
It's kind of just a Zozo win on his resume, though, isn't it?
you'll be here all week, ladies and gentlemen. Jefferson Drexler, the comedy stylings.
I had to squeeze that in.
The comedy stylings of Jefferson Drexler. Tiger Woods won again. We're going to chat about that here in a little bit as well. He had his 82nd PGA Tour Championship win. And also what jumped out at me, especially being in Southern California, us being in San Diego, the Padres' new manager, Jace Tingler. Let me say it again. Jace the Tingler.
Wasn't he like a fraternity brother of mine back in the day or something?
Hey, bro,
Jay,
what's up, man? It's the Tingler, man. Yeah. Kegger at Tinglers. Yeah, I think he was a Sigma Chi.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's the deal.
What's his resume?
He has no resume.
Who is this guy?
Listen, I don't even if he had a resume, Padres, listen to me. The guy's last name is Tingler. You don't want to hire Mr. Tingler to run your ball club. Right. Even if he had a great resume, guys, you know what? He's won a couple World Series. He's the brightest young talent out there. I go, guys, I'm sorry we can't hire him. His last name is Tingler. The Tingler is running the Padres. So, man, I tell you what, it's pretty
does
funny.
Not look good on a T-shirt, does it?
Oh my
Come out and welcome the Tingler.
And you've heard it here first, guys. The Tingler starts here now today in the yard. You'll see the T-shirts soon. But so those are some of the things that jumped out at me. But here's the top 3, not in any specific order, but 3 things that really, really jumped out at me over the last week. Number 1, Aaron Rodgers and Mr. Minshew. We talked about these guys before. These guys are great quarterbacks. These guys are lighting it up. Mr. Minshew is doing a great job. But to reset one of our takes a while ago, we talked about Aaron Rodgers and Minshew and their mustaches. Now, right now, Aaron Rodgers adjusted his look, and I think maybe someone got a hold of our takes, Jefferson, and sent it to him. Because once we did that, we identified his mustache, and we identified how much time he was allocating to grooming his little mustache. Mm-hmm. And how that was going to cause division in the locker room. Seriously. And he lost when he was showing his mustache off to everybody. And our argument was this. It's okay to have a mustache. It's okay to be well-groomed. But you could tell, guys, listen, he focused way too much on his mustache. And since he did that, people started to be confused in the locker room and scared and going, why is our leader spending too much time with his mustache? And it led me to write a song about these great quarterbacks with mustaches, and it's called Mustache Love. Can you please cue that up, Mr. Jefferson?
Mustache Minshew, mustache man, grooms his little mustache as best as he can in the evening. His mustache is pleasing. Mustache Aaron, such a great QB. Thanks for growing out your mustache for the world to see. Makes Burt Reynolds, makes me feel sentimental. And you whirl and you twirl, but don't tangle. Hoping your hair won't get mangled. Mustaches from heaven above, looks like mustache love.
So, Mustache Love from America's Muskrat Love. Before we move on, that song is one of the craziest songs ever written, Muskrat Love. For our younger listeners, I want you to Google America Muskrat Love. And those lyrics are crazy. For our generation, we know those lyrics. Muskrat, muskrat, candlelight.
Susie and Sam.
Doing the town and doing it right in the evening. It's pretty pleasing. Here's the deal. I know they were high when they wrote the song. Because they wrote it in the 70s, and 90% of all the songs written in the 70s were written by people that were high. But at some point, they had to gain sobriety, like the next day, Jefferson. And now they've got the words to the song written down. And America had to get together and evaluate their words and go, muskrat, muskrat, candlelight, doing the town and doing it right. What do you guys think? Yeah, I love it. Let's go with it.
Winning.
All right, so here we go. We've got Aaron Rodgers, who is now being touted as maybe the greatest quarterback ever. I don't believe that, but they're saying right now he's the greatest quarterback. The argument between him and Tom Brady.
Right. I'm hearing that Brady is the most decorated, but Aaron the greatest quarterback. Hard for a guy like me to hear.
Yeah, look, it's hard to argue against Mr. Tom Brady, but it's no doubt that Aaron Rodgers is playing great, and you can make an argument that he's the greatest right now. But he had a great play this Sunday that they are saying, there was the catch, right? When we were growing up, the great 49ers catch. Now they're referring to this as the throw. If you can cue up that throw by Mr. Rogers from this weekend's game right here.
This is insane.
It shows you. So here he is against the Chiefs. Your buddy's there. He drops back. Here's the deal.
He's going down.
Watch this.
Even Al said he was going down.
Look at that. That was amazing.
From that angle, I'm like, no way are his feet in bounds.
They're calling that the greatest pass ever.
Look at this. There's only one spot where that pass can be made.
It was no doubt it was a great pass. It was a great catch for sure, Jefferson. Now, for it to go down as the greatest pass ever, here's the issue I have with that. The circumstances were not as great as the catch. The circumstances were not as great as the immaculate reception. The championship was not on the line, but this guy is delivering, and he certainly is amazing. But back to my original argument and the focus of my song. He is doing those passes, and he is playing like that right now without highlighting his mustache. I'm serious.
That's why.
That's why. I'm serious. That's why. Can you pull up the picture?
There he is.
Okay,
Beginning
to
of
the left.
season and this week.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me present to you Exhibit A. To the left is Aaron Rodgers right before the game where they lost. They've only lost one game this year. That was his mustache. We said this. You are losing the respect of the locker room, and there's nothing wrong with this mustache. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, there's nothing wrong. It was a perfectly good, fine mustache. It was too good. The football players in that locker room don't want their leader focusing so much on his mustache. They want him to focus on the playbook. They want him focusing on being prepared. Now, pull up that picture again, please.
You got it.
This is a photo of Mr. Rogers currently, today. Right there, we see him. That's what you want your quarterback to look like. Scruffy, with a beard. The mustache is still there, but it's showing the people, guys, I apologize for spending all that time on my mustache. Now, let's get down to business, and that's why they're winning the way they are winning.
Number 2.
Tiger Woods, Jefferson. Tiger Woods is back at it with his 82nd win for the PGA Tour Championship. Now, he has probably had the biggest documented fall from grace as a professional athlete. And I know it's bittersweet for many people to see him win again. I know on one side of the ledger, you've got the Tiger haters that continue to hate Tiger for all the things he went through, for pulling the wool over people's eyes, and for living that double life. And on the other side, you have the people that are like, you know what, maybe I don't love Tiger anymore, but he's paid his dues, and it's good to see that story of redemption. Personally, I'm enjoying seeing the story of redemption. Not that he's completely changed who he is. I don't know his heart. I don't know his character. But America, in general, Jefferson, is a forgiving nation.
Right.
And I think in general, he's shown people that he's had some contrition. And for me, I'm enjoying seeing him do well. But here's what I want to say right now, that no matter what, I believe he is always going to have an asterisk next to his name when it comes to fans. When you think of Tiger, is there an asterisk next to his name when you think of all the great things he's done?
Yeah, I mean, you can't get away from that night, was it just before Thanksgiving?
Yeah.
Where he got in a traffic accident and they thought, oh, the poor guy, oh no, he's strung out on opioids, oh, and he's cheating on his wife, and it all fell apart so fast and so hard.
Yeah, and he fell from so high, to so low, and I like to see he's made a comeback, but he will always have an asterisk by his name in my eyes, and I don't think that's good, because when I see Tiger, I think of like maybe all the mistakes that I've made and all the times that I've fallen short. And I haven't maybe fallen as much as he has, but I haven't had the heights of Tiger Woods. And all my mistakes aren't out there for everybody to see. And so that's a lot of pressure, not forgiving, or I'm sorry, not denying what he's done. But even I, like, well, Tiger, yes, but that asterisk. And I thank God that he's not like that with us, Jefferson.
You know, I didn't come here to preach to you today.
Thank you. So I didn't come here to preach to you today, but here's what I'm going to say, Jefferson. There's a great verse in the Bible, and it's Psalm 103:12. And I love it. I want you to understand this. Listeners, I want you to hear this and really try to comprehend this about God's love for us and God's forgiveness. It says this, as far as the east is from the west, so far has he removed our transgressions from us. That says this, Jefferson. Look, as far as the east is from the west, which we can't even imagine how far that is.
Infinite.
That's how much he's removed us from our sins, from our mistakes, from everything we've done wrong. And thank God, me as a believer, you as a believer, Mr. James Lofton that's coming on here soon as a believer, right? We don't have asterisks next to our names, right? It's a clean slate, and we have been made new. So I thank God for that, and it convicts me as I think about Tiger. It's so easy for me to judge. It's so easy for me to point fingers, as opposed to just go, you know what? Why don't we put that past behind him? Don't look at him through that lens, and hopefully he's changed his life around, and we can celebrate what he continues to do.
Amen.
Hey, the World Series is here, and I believe that Major League Baseball, Jefferson, has stolen something, has taken a page out of the Chargers handbook.
The what?
Yes.
No, you were talking the best in baseball, taking something out of the Charger?
The most
you got to explain this.
elite moment in baseball. I believe Major League Baseball saw something special in the LA Chargers, saw something that they needed for their ratings. They saw something that the Chargers were doing better than anybody else, and they say, we need to implement that for our series to increase the ratings. And here's the deal. We talked about Chargers introducing the term home field disadvantage. Right?
Okay.
Right? And even Al Michaels, whoever's covering the Chargers, points it out that it's about 80% of the other team there. Here's the deal. There's been a huge home field disadvantage in this World Series. The series is 3-2 with Astros up, but every away team has won. There's not been a home team that has won. What are your thoughts? Why do you think that's happening right now in this series, Jefferson?
Yeah, so I've played careful attention, with the exception of last night's game where I was going back and forth between the Chiefs and the World Series. The first two games that the Nationals won in Houston, I overnight became a huge Nationals fan. I loved seeing them do the baby shark. I loved all the shenanigans and the celebration.
Something is wrong with you.
These guys were so fun to watch, and they were winning. And I think for 2 games straight, what happened is they just lit a fire of fury underneath the Astros. So when they picked up the series in Washington, Astros said, nay, not anymore. Big boys are coming to town, and they're playing mean.
So you're saying that now the Astros are playing upset, and maybe they didn't take the first 2 games seriously enough?
No. I mean, I think, too, you had the Astros coming off of a long series with the Yankees. They came in as heavy favorites. But now we're seeing real baseball from those Astros. I mean, they're hitting it on all cylinders. It's incredible. They've got pitching, they've got timely hitting, they've got power hitting. They are doing everything that you would hope a baseball team could do.
One of the things I really like about the Astros, besides Mr. Altuve, or as we like to say, Mr. Altuve, right?
Altuve.
Yes, Mr. Altuve for the Latinos out there. What I love about the Astros is they're doing a great blend of the last 2 eras of baseball. We know we're in the era of the long ball. I used to love seeing small ball. Mm-hmm. Guys get walked, guys get guys on base. RBIs, getting them in, and they have a nice blend of the long ball, certainly, but getting guys on base as well. And I like that formula. This is super exciting. I've talked time and time again how baseball, I don't pay attention to the playoffs, to the World Series. Well, it's here, it's delivering, and I am paying attention. Now let's talk about joy and pain. Cover a couple things that brought us joy and pain over the weekend. Yes. Sunshine and rain. All right, joy and pain. This is what brought me joy over the last week or so. It is a moment between Coach P.J. Fleck, who is the head coach of the Minnesota Gophers. He had a moment with somebody on his team named Casey O'Brien. So let me set this moment up here. Casey O'Brien is a holder. You probably can't name me the name of one holder in the pros, or certainly not in the NCAA. And the reason we know Casey O'Brien's name is because Casey O'Brien is a four-time cancer survivor.
Wow.
And Coach Fleck was so heartwarmed with him coming off the field and having victory over cancer. We caught a special moment on film. We didn't catch it. We got a special moment on film him with Casey O'Brien coming off and Coach Fleck receiving him in his arms. Let's take a look at this.
Here's
right here.
Coach. There he is. You know, they say league of their own. There's no crying in baseball.
Yeah.
There's crying in football, brother.
Man, can you put that up again? This is such an amazing moment. And I want to point out here that P.J. Fleck is not only an awesome coach, but once again, we see he's a man of God. He loves the Lord. He loves Jesus. There's no doubt about it. He shares his faith. And just once again, what a sweet moment when we see just somebody behaving biblically, somebody loving somebody else, somebody taking the time to acknowledge somebody's pain, somebody's victory. And Coach Fleck, keep that up. We really appreciate it. You're a great example to what this is all about faith and sports colliding. Now, when it comes to pain, this is my pain. The pain revolves around the San Diego State Aztecs that are now 7-1. As a matter of fact, not only are they 7-1, but the Aztecs have now broken the top 25 AP poll. You see there, number 25 right there. We have San Diego State. Aztecs fight on and on, ye Aztecs men. Sons of Montezuma, we must win again. Keep your spirits high, never bow a knee. We won't stop till victory. All right? Top 25, 7-1. Why is this bringing me pain?
I don't understand.
Here's the deal. When they were 3-0, not too long ago,
Great start.
Undefeated, off to an auspicious start. Great start. They called me to come lead them in chapel, to which I happily obliged and went joyfully to go give that chapel to the San Diego State Aztecs. I prepared all week. I got excited. I told my friends. They prayed for me. I prayed for them. And let me say this. I have a good history in my chapels. I've been able to give some chapels and some great opportunities. God has opened up the door for me. I've given chapels to the Patriots. I've given chapels to the Raiders. I've given chapels to the Giants. I've been in chapels with the Chargers, and they have come out victorious. So I was on a hot streak, Jefferson. I thought there was something special about my pre-game chapels. So the only blemish on San Diego State's record is after I gave their chapel. They were 3-0, and after my chapel, Jefferson, they were 3-1. Very disappointed. Yeah, womp. Seriously, that makes me feel bad, man. Without me, they would be 8-0 right now, headed for a major bowl game, but because my chapel was not effective enough, they lost.
It's a shame you don't think enough about yourself, brother. I wish you had a good enough self-esteem and ego to handle this world around.
If I would have just prayed a better prayer.
Amen.
I just fell short on my prayer. I'm not spiritually sound enough, but I'm sorry, San Diego State Aztecs. I'll do better next time. But somebody that's not falling short, unlike your host here, is coming up real soon, Jefferson. Let me tell you something. I'm so excited to bring this guy on. We're bringing on James Lofton. And just listen to this real quick. He is a 2003 Hall of Fame inductee. As if that's not big enough, 1978 NCAA long jump champion. He is on the 80s all-decade team in the NFL, 8-time Pro Bowl wide receiver. He's a former coach for the Chargers and Raiders, 3-time Super Bowls with the Bills, 3 TD catches in 3 decades. Mr. James Lofton, Hall of Famer, will be here soon. So stick around, and we'll be right back in the yard. Welcome back to the yard where faith and sports collide. You're with Marcus Preciado right now, but more importantly, on the line, we have Hall of Fame receiver, Mr. James Lofton. You're that and so much more. James, thank you so much for joining us today. We are thrilled to have you in the yard.
Well, thank you for having me. You know, normally you talk about the yard. I think about baseball, and the World Series is going on this week, so maybe we can knock one out of the yard.
Hey, are you following the World Series at all?
I think everybody's following it, and I had a unique perspective because this past week in the NFL game I was doing for CBS, I had the Raiders at the Houston Texans. So all the people who are Astro fans, you saw all the jerseys walking around town. They started the series off down 2-0. Now it's 3-2. And for people who are listening to this down the road, we don't know who's going to win it, but the Astros have a lot of momentum going right now.
Yeah, it was interesting to see them start 0-2, and they kind of woke up, it seemed, and now they're playing well. What do you think about every away team winning in this series? We said they have the Chargers effect, where they have home field disadvantage in this.
You know, if you're at that professional level, you've got to kind of be able to cancel out all the noise. And in the World Series, and I know it's not the same way during the regular season in baseball, but that energy level for that home crowd is up so high. Every pitch is dramatic, and it is something that you can come in there as a road team, steal 2, and then go to your place and drop 3.
Yeah, it's crazy. You know, I was chatting with former Padres All-Star reliever Heath Bell today, as a matter of fact. We were working on something together, and we were talking about this, and he was just talking about it really doesn't matter that much in baseball because most of those baseball players, James, are able to cancel everything out in their mind and just focus on each play-by-play. In the venue, he says, doesn't matter too much in baseball, but it's proven to be right now. But let's get into a little bit of football. James, I grew up in an era where watching you every Sunday was a treat. You were such a man of great class, of great ability. You were just amazing. And so what was it in you, James? And I know you're a humble man, but not only being a Hall of Famer, being the 1978 NCAA long jump champion on the 80s all-decade team. You've been in 3 Super Bowls, caught touchdown passes in 3 different decades. What do you think has led to your ability to accomplish those great things, James?
You know, it's funny, as I look back on it, and when I meet my old friends, kids that I grew up with who are now in their 60s, and we knew each other in elementary school and this and that, and we kind of try and look back and we wonder why things happened. And we don't always have the right answer. When I was playing for the Buffalo Bills, the team chaplain was a guy by the name of Fred Raines. And Fred had an interesting idea because football cards were kind of getting big at the time. And he said, let's do a Christian football card on guys and, you know, come up with a Bible verse that kind of fits you and fits your life and, you know, what you would think about. So Fred, who knew me for a couple of years while I was back in Buffalo, we're kind of talking. I had an engineering background when I was at Stanford, so numbers are important to me, doing things kind of in a systematic way. You know, my wife would tell you in a regimented way. But we came up with Proverbs 16:9. The mind of a man plans his way, but the Lord directs steps. You know, we do acquire a lot of knowledge, and sometimes we forget that knowledge is really a gift from God.
Wow.
But we take all of it, and if you are still based in the Word, you're going to make kind of the right decisions most of the time, not all the time.
Yeah.
But you're going to make them most of the time. And, I just think it's a function of, you don't have to wear your faith on your sleeve, but you better have it in your heart.
Wow. That's what I'm talking about right there, James. Pastor James Lofton, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't know what you come to do, but I come to praise the name. Can I get an amen? Yes.
That's from my favorite movie.
That sounded like it was from an old Eddie Murphy movie.
Yeah, that's from Coming to America, man. Sorry I had to throw that at you, but, man, you were breaking it down right there. At what point in your life did faith become the most important thing to you, James?
Well, I grew up in what was a reverse single-parent family. My dad ended up with all four kids when I was going into the third grade, and older brothers and sisters were going into like 10th, 9th, and 8th grade. And we went to church. We were at the Catholic Church, so we went there, and I think my dad kind of took us to the Catholic Church because Mass is only 45 minutes, and so he could get in and out. He was very punctual in a lot of things that he did, and really where it kicked off was once I got to the pros, and Steve Newman, who worked with Athletes in Action, and Campus Crusade was our team chaplain, and he would invite you to breakfast and invite you to lunch, and always there. And so when things got rocky, you had that to kind of fall back on, and that kind of falling back on it, you fall straight into it, and you go, this is where I should be. This is where I need to be planted.
Wow. And so you're in the pros, and you've got the experience. Like I read off a list of just amazing things out of all those things that you were able to be a part of, and we know also you coach as well, and currently right now is doing a great job broadcasting. Which one of those things has stuck out at you most? Was it the Super Bowls? Was it winning the long jump championship in '78? Was it putting on that yellow jacket? What were the things that you've accomplished athletically that you remember and go, wow, out of all of those, this was the one I enjoyed the most?
When you phrase it like that as a multiple choice question, I kind of go down to D, all of the above.
Yeah, sure.
Because it's the moments that are trickled in there, and whether it's the moments in my athletic career, the moments in my marriage. When I first met my wife, I remember asking her to dance at a New Year's Eve party, and at some point you go back and you go, I got to ask her for her phone number. Then I hope I write it down correctly. And then you're so excited about calling for the first time. So those moments are great. The birth of your children. And then when you get to the really, really good stage in life when you get grandkids. I had somebody tell me when I first became a grandparent, they gave me this line. If I had known they were this much fun, I'd have had them first.
Yeah.
And so my oldest grandson is now 6. His dad played at Stanford, and he's playing flag football, and he had 2 touchdowns in the last game. So I'm down in Houston getting ready for the Raiders and the Texans game, and I'm in a production meeting with John Gruden, and I'm showing John Gruden my grandson running a touchdown in flag football. So it's about, I guess, really just enjoying where you are in life, and you can look back on your accomplishments. And they're great. They're a lot of fun, but they're no better than watching your kids do something or your grandkids do something.
Now, did you turn into a different person, James, when you became a grandpa? My dad was a Green Beret, Special Forces, Mexican with a big mustache. Not only did I not talk back to him, I didn't talk back to his mustache, let alone to him. But I tell you what, when we had our kids, he turned into somebody that I never knew. He turned into Mr. Happy.
Turned into an old softy, didn't he?
Yeah, I'm like, who is this guy? What'd you do with my pops?
You know what it is? You know what it is? It's such a great joy when your kids have kids, because you know that you've done something kind of right, that your kids even want to have kids, that they want to, have a family. And when they do, you know how special it is. And when you're a young adult raising kids, it's hectic. And you don't get to press pause and really enjoy it. Since I travel a lot for the broadcasting, I see people getting on the planes with the car seats and the strollers, and they've got the diaper bags and the extra food, and I can see the little bit of struggle. So what I try and do when those little kids are walking by me, going to their seat, to try and say hi to them, get their parents to smile, because you want them to enjoy the process and don't feel burdened by it.
Yeah. Speaking of families and enjoying it, let's go down a little different path here. One thing that I've really respected about you throughout the years is, if you know James, you know that James loves Beverly. And what advice would you give to young husbands out there of how to love their wives in a healthy, biblical, sacrificial way? What are some of the things you've done to maintain such a loving and healthy relationship, James?
Well, you got to keep her first. She should be the standard that you judge a woman by.
Wow, come on.
Not Hollywood standards, not Entertainment Tonight standards or whatever, but your wife should be the standard. And I think what you realize is that as the years roll by, how fortunate you are that God put her in your path. And you've got to take care of her and cherish her with everything that you have. You just got to honor her. But in addition to that, you guys still have to have fun. So you've got to have a little time for a date night. Doesn't have to be anything elaborate. And it might be going out in the backyard after the kids fall asleep at 7:30. So, you can keep it simple, but it has to, tick off all the boxes of the same way when you were kind of, for lack of a better word, courting her.
That's great. There was a season, James, where we had 3 kids, 3 years and under.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Just 3, 18 months and a newborn. And without using too much
Are we out of diapers?
Yeah. Listen,
Yeah.
it was a series of just trying to get through every day, James.
Yep.
Like, can we just survive? And somehow through that time, I kind of lost touch of the things that you just told us. And it was a pastor that pulled me aside and reminded me of those things. And I still today, I can't tell you I'm great at them, but I can tell you that I want to be, James.
Yep.
And when I implement those things, such a difference in our relationship, such a difference in my wife when she feels I'm putting her first, and when I just date nights continue to court her and chase her. And so those words are so true, brother. Thanks for sharing those.
And as you get older, sometimes they slow down and we get to catch them.
Hey, that's the fun part right there. Hey, James, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. Once again, we love the work that you're doing, but more importantly, we love that you may not wear your faith on your sleeve, but we know that you have the faith in your heart. Thank you for being a great example for so many men out there, for me and tons of others. Appreciate you, and we look forward to you being back in the yard soon. Thanks a lot, James. Thanks again for joining us for another great episode in the yard. We want to thank our special guest, Mr. James Lofton. Wow, what an amazing stuff. What a great blessing. What great knowledge and wisdom he gave us as well. Once again, thank you to our sponsors, Christian Podcast Central. Go to christianpodcastcentral.com for more great content like this. Thanks a lot, you guys, and you are in the yard.